what's going on YouTube? Thanks for coming back. This is Kyle, I'm Jacob, and today we're going to go ahead and talk about type 1 diabetes specifically, and we're going to talk a little bit about type 2 as well.
So, for what I know is, they're both sexually transmitted diseases, and that's the only way you can get them. If you have sex with somebody that already has it, then you get it too. But you got yours as a child, so how did that really work?
So Kyle, they're not sexually transmitted diseases. They're actually genetic diseases, and they're actually autoimmune specifically, which autoimmune means that your body attacks its own cells, and the genetic factor means that I got it from my parents.
So it's not
No.
having sex.
No. I got it when I was 6, or actually, technically, it developed when I was 6.
Do you want to talk about it? Because if it's
Anyway, so we're going to talk about some basic stuff. We're going to talk about the disease itself. We're going to talk about the difference between it and type 2. And do we have anything else we wanted to talk about on this one? No? Okay. So let me go ahead and just get into it. Type 1 diabetes, again, it's an autoimmune disease, and it has hereditary factors. What it basically means is my pancreas does not produce insulin, which insulin is what maintains your blood sugar levels. And when your blood sugar levels get too high or low, you basically can die.
Please don't die on me.
I'm not gonna die on you. So to regulate it, you take insulin, synthetic insulin. It's actually, they produce it with bacteria now. It used to be that you would take it from a pig or a cow, which didn't work out very well because eventually your body built up immunity to it. But with the bacteria, it works a lot better. And I used to have to take actual injections 3 to 4 times a day. I don't have to do that anymore with the technology. The technology is really advancing nicely over the last 8 to 10 years. They actually have these things called insulin pumps. I've been wearing one.
Or pagers, as I like to call them.
Yeah, if you grew up in the 90s, it looks like a pager. But
He's a doctor.
I'm not that important. But they basically, it delivers the insulin for me. Makes it a lot more convenient than shots all the time. They're freaking expensive though, unfortunately, so not every diabetic can afford one. Now I think we want to talk about the difference between type 1 and type 2. So I mentioned with type 1, it is hereditary. It's an autoimmune disease, and that it is basically the pancreas isn't producing insulin anymore. Okay, so type 2 diabetes is generally caused by obesity, and it can be maintained with proper diet and exercise.
So, like, you can't go to McDonald's and get, like, 3 Big Macs and a large fry and a large Coke, and then the next day go to, like, Burger King and get, like, 8 Whoppers and eat them all in one sitting, and then, like, go home and bake a cake and not share it with anyone and just eat it by yourself, and then you make, like, a batch of cookies and you make 24 and you eat 23 of them and only leave one for the rest of the family. Or, like, if you eat, like, a carton of ice cream with one of those big spoons and you just, like, shovel it into your mouth over and over again. Or if you just, like, if you just, like, ate, like, a bunch of onion rings, or maybe you just, like, drank a lot of beer afterwards and then you just, like, eat some more onion rings.
Alright, yeah, those are all things that could contribute to having type 2 diabetes.
And then if you have, like, some hot dogs.
Oh boy, okay.
A lot of hot dogs. And then, like, a lot of, like, just random meats that aren't really good for you. But not fish, because fish is good for you. So, like, if you eat, like, bacon, or like, a lot of cheese, and then you get, like, backed up. So
I think we're not talking about type 2 diabetes anymore.
Okay.
I think you're talking about some other issues that people tend to have. Anyway, want to close this video talking a little bit about maybe the possibility of a cure. There's a guy, I believe his name is Mark Huising. He works out at UC Davis. He's an assistant professor. He just got a $62 million fund from the United States government to work on a cure for diabetes. And what he's basically doing is he's working on beta cell revitalization. Beta cells are actually what produce the insulin in the pancreas. Uh, so on that note, I kind of just wanted to get the word out on diabetes and the differences between type 1 and 2. It is something that means something to me as a diabetic, and I'm sure there's other people that grew up with type 1 that probably went through some similar things as me, trying to get people to understand that it is different. Anyway, if you guys want to share, subscribe, preferably share. We do want to get the message out about type 1 diabetes, and I'm probably going to have, if you guys are interested, in the description below some more information and some links for you guys.
I just wanted to add one thing. I learned a lot about diabetes from just being friends with them. And if you're friends with somebody that has type 1 diabetes, don't be afraid to ask questions, because it really does help. Like, there was one time at my house. Yes, the story is getting thrown in here. There was one time at my house. It's not going to be a long story. His blood sugar was low, and I was still sleeping. And being the good friend that he is, he didn't want to wake me up. And that's kind of one of those things where my sleep doesn't matter because you could die on me. And I always give him shit for it, because that's something that it should never happen. But I like, if he passed out, I don't know what would have happened after that. So if you're friends with somebody, just ask questions if you don't know. They're probably not gonna have any issue answering them. He had no problem answering them for me. It's not like I don't talk about it all the time with him, because it's not everything about him, but it is part of who he is. So, but yeah, if you ever have questions about it, ask your friend. I'm sure they have no problem answering them.